What are some hidden dress codes people wear to identify themselves that you have to already know about to notice? Part 2. After coming out, I learned that, as a woman, using a carabiner to hook your keys to your belt loop is a big lesbian thing. I've been doing it for years. Oftentimes student nurses will wear one color of scrubs to stand out from professionals during clinicals. My color was hazel gray. Red trousers. Might be a UK thing, but usually associated with old money upper class type people, or eccentricity. The two seem to overlap a fair bit though. Or at least it seems so to a commoner like me. If you see someone with a tattooed on wedding ring, it's usually because they work with machine tools or electricity, where having something metal and or conductive on their hand while working can lead to very bad things. A red shirt means you will die during an away team mission. Bucket hat anywhere equals I like drugs. Some younger hunters certainly dress a certain way. It's the type of pants. Not jeans. Not chinos. More functional hiking chinos. And a functional sweater or a shirt that is strengthened. FRC, First Robotics Competitions, kids have rubber bands with a team name or number on every single one. So if you see a kid or 30 wearing the same shirt and wristbands that look like a mismatched rainbow, they're FRC. One thing that's not a secret, but may not be immediately obvious to anyone who isn't a fairly serious Catholic, is that you can tell what religious order a priest, monk, or nun belongs to by what kind of habit, i.e. religious clothes, they are wearing. E.g. a long black robe with a black scapular, a long narrow apron-like cloth that hangs from the shoulders down almost to the hem of one's tunic, is a Benedictine habit. A white robe, a scapular with a black kappa, cloak, and a rosary hanging off a belt is a Dominican. Brown or gray robes with a rope belt is a Franciscan. A brown robe and scapular with a belt, rosary and white mantle, basically also a cloak, is a Carmelite, etc. You can also sometimes tell what religious order someone belongs to by symbols they'll use, either as like a pin or on stationery, etc. For instance, the EM symbol is something Jesuits use. As a serious Catholic myself, it drives me crazy when historical drama type movies and TV shows get this wrong. Like when you have someone who is supposed to be a Dominican dressed in all black or something. It's like, just call a Catholic church and / or do 5 minutes of research on Google. A shoestring as a belt is a skateboarding thing. Not sure if they still do it, but I remember it starting when I was in high school 15 years ago. If they run around naked, they're either nudists or exhibitionists. Always wearing long sleeves is sometimes an indicator of self-harm, pretty sure that's well known by now, but can often indicate hard drug use, even if they aren't hiding track marks from current use. I've been clean for several years, but I still get random chills pretty often, so I usually have at least a light jacket on. Magic Mormon underwear. They can be seen subtly under clothes and you know to look for it if you're in. If their denim is cuffed and there are red lines on the seam, it means selvage denim and they are probably into their jeans. Here's an Australia-specific one: the Exclusive Brethren. Extremist Christian cult. The women can't wear pants. They have to wear some kind of headdress, headband, bow. They can't really cut hair and they certainly can't dye it. They also dress super formally in comparison to most other Australians. The men's is combed like 1950s/60s businessmen hair. They are always white because they are racist as fuck, and they often look a little off in a large group because they practice consistent incest, cousin marriage. Wearing a small triangular lace, normally called a mantilla, usually in the Catholic Church, just means you're from a more traditional family. The mantilla is specifically from Spanish culture, I think. I googled it for context. But in the Catholic Church it is worn by women to symbolize a desire to be more like the Virgin Mary. But it's generally only worn in the church when in the presence of the Holy Eucharist. If I'm getting my info right, they were required for women pre-Vatican II to symbolize purity and humility or something. I personally don't wear one. Which is not to say I am less holy or don't want to be like Mary. But mantillas generally come from the Latin rite. And I was raised in the Novice Ordo, which is the post-Vatican II Mass in English. And women are allowed to do a bit more in no. So I just grew up not wearing one. The no is just as valid. However, many traditional Latin Rite Catholics believe otherwise. Like, I've met some wonderful Latin Rite people. But I've also met some horribly judgmental LR people. But if you want to identify a trad Catholic, look for the mantilla. Undercover police in Japan. They all wear casual clothes but with the same type of black shoes and navy pants. It's easy enough to spot them as long as you know to check the shoes and the color of their pants. I've been stopped a few times in Japan by undercover police and asked for ID. I used to smoke outside the local police station and watch them come out and go about their undercover police work. At least in Bristol. A chain necklace with a tiny spoon shows you who partakes in the ol' horsey fun time snow. Wearing a Canadian tuxedo, not Canadian. Likely American or Britney Spears. Asexuals sometimes wear a black ring on their right middle finger. In Australia, and I'm sure other countries, I wear a polo shirt and cargo shorts so everyone knows I'm a dad. Sandals optional. Disney bounding. And hashtag X200B. It is the sure sign of a die-hard Disney fan. They wear the colors of a Disney character. Or the likeness of a Disney character. Without actually looking like the character. When it is done really well. Normal people can't even see what is going on. And hashtag X200B. Due to COVID closures and my fear of dyeing my own hair, I might soon make it to Ursula. I've already got the figure and the voice. If you see someone in all black and work boots on a subway in NYC, there's a great possibility that they're a stagehand, or if they're in all black and dress shoes they could be a musician. Or at least that's how it used to be before the pandemic. Head coverings vary among observant Muslim women from different countries. The kind many people think of is the Saudi Arabian style that has become more popular in the last decade or so. A cool one is the different traditional head coverings between Kazakhs, white scarf with a part tied back like a nurse's cap. Uyghurs, colorful scarf and tied in front or behind the neck. And the Hui, a cap with cloth coming down the sides, all groups found in China, depending on how you feel about groups leaving to be independent. I think it's like people from different countries tying knots. I remember that the old people in the villages, one of the largest retirement places in Florida, would have different color flags flying from their golf cart. Each one explains what sexual thing they want. Forgot what was what. But also I remember there was crazy STDs rampant in that place. Anyone who graduates with an engineering degree in Canada has a steel ring on the pinky finger of their dominant hand. And oddly, women have hit on me after noticing it. Never in my life did I think engineering was a sexy degree. BDSM O-rings. They're easily missed as anything other than jewelry to probably 85% of the population. But the other 15%. It's pretty glaringly in your face when you recognize it for what it is. And hashtag X200B. Edit, to those saying not everyone who wears it can be judged as in the BDSM community. While there is some truth to that. That is literally the reason BDSM O-ring jewelry is discreet, because it can easily be passed off as just some pretty looking jewelry. Yes, there are exceptions to everything in life. And some people truly don't understand just what it is they are wearing. But the vast majority of people wearing O-rings are wearing them for BDSM purposes. Foremen. Engineers. And important guys wear white hard hats. Handkerchief in the back pocket is something the gay leathermen, or women, wear to symbolize they are on the hunt for a date. Or it was used to symbolize a sexual fetish, or asterisk right pocket meant you were a top or dominant. Asterisk left pocket meant you were a bottom. Yes. I've been to some interesting parties. Edit, I'm specifically speaking about the leather community. I was heavily involved when I was younger and went to many underground parties. Even though I'm not gay. It was a lot of fun. Different communities may have had different rules. Yes, colors also meant something, but I can't remember, it was so long ago. Edit 2, for me. This experience was in the later 90s to mid 2000s. I'm sure that these practices had been going on for much longer. The community was very much underground until kink became more mainstream in the mid 2000s here. Horseback riders know that real riding boots have the zippers on the back or outside. There's a lot of this in a hospital setting. Though it probably varies quite a bit from one hospital to another. My hospital only provides scrubs to people who work in the OR. Everyone else has to buy their own scrubs. So you can immediately identify surgical vs non-surgical staff. If someone is wearing personal scrubs and a cloth scrub cap, they're probably from a COVID unit. If someone sees some COVID patients but not exclusively COVID, they'll have their N95 clipped to their scrubs in a paper bag. Respiratory therapists always have small backpacks/fanny packs/sling bags with extra supplies. Medical students have short white coats and are required to wear them. Residents usually wear fleece jackets instead of white coats. Doctors have pagers. Nurses usually don't. Emergency room staff have trauma shears for cutting off clothing. Someone with a reflex hammer in their pocket or safety pins on their lanyard is definitely a neurologist. An IUD clip to the ID badge, definitely an OBGYN. White cap sleeve shirts under sleeveless tops or dresses, Mormon. Edit, to cover their temple garments/special underwear. When I was working in Clearwater, Florida, all of the Scientologists wore white shirts and blue pants. If someone is wearing an affliction shirt, chances are that they are a raging douchebag. I used to wonder why certain people in my office would wear the same colors as each other sometimes. Turns out they were listening to a radio station here in NYC that would suggest a color for you to wear that day. Stagehands wear black. Check for a crescent wrench in the back pocket to confirm. Thanks for watching.